Professional football fans, NFL fans, whatever it is that you like, it is time once again for the Pro Football Insiders PFIve. Now, you're wondering why it's called that? Well, we are Pro Football Insiders, PFI, and these are the 5 things that you are going to need to know about every single team in the National Football League, whoever it is that you root for. Now, let's go ahead and start with the Los Angeles Rams. Here's a team that last year started out 1-4, just absolutely awful. 9-3 down the stretch. They lost that last game of the season against the Seattle Seahawks. They did not need to win. They were already getting ready for the playoffs, which they got into. Then they go up against a seemingly juggernaut in the Minnesota Vikings. And what happened against the Vikings? Well, they beat them. They beat them well, too. They exposed Sam Darnold, won 27-9 over Minnesota in that game at home, and then had to travel out east to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. It was a snowy day. They lost 28-22, but showed a lot of fight in that game. Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. He is a guy in his 9th season that people are saying is the next Don Shula, is the next Bill Belichick, is the next Bill Walsh. He is an absolute genius on the offensive side of the ball. So let's go and get started with number 1, and it's all about Matthew Stafford. He will be back, but that back of his, for the 37-year-old, well, it's quite a concern. He has missed all of training camp so far. Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup. He's a decent one, but can he do it throughout the season and lead this team to the playoffs? There's a school of thought that he can't. The confidence is not the same in Jimmy G as it would be for Matthew Stafford. They just paid him a ton of money to bring him back. Some people thought he wasn't going anywhere. He flirted with the outside, but Les Snead, the general manager, brought him back in, and it seems to still be a good call, but they need to have him back. Now, a guy that you do want to hear about here is Stetson Bennett. Remember him? National champion at Georgia twice. Well, he is turning a lot of heads, and he is gaining some momentum in that quarterback room as well. Could he be the guy for the future? That's possible, and that's a guy to look at. But right now, the hope in La La Land is that you see Matthew Stafford come back. Another guy that you want to come back is back, but there were a lot of people scared about Kyren Williams at number 2 here. He's in camp practice right now. He's there going about his business, but they're talking about a contract. Drew Rosenhaus is in the house, and he's lurking, but both sides expect the deal to be done soon. Now, Williams, going into his 4th year out of Notre Dame, well, he was 7th last year with 1,299 yards on the ground, 15 total TDs, 14 on the ground, 1 as a receiver. Kyren Williams is definitely a guy that you need to look at. They do have Blake Corum in the backfield and some other guys battling for that backup spot, but this team goes with Kyren Williams carrying the mail. At number 3, it's the front 7, and it's loaded. My gosh. Remember the fearsome foursome of the 70s? Late 60s, 70s? Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen and a whole bunch of guys? Well, they've got a loaded with talent roster up front here. Up front, it's Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, and Braden Fisk. Man, they like those defensive guys at number 1 from Florida State. Byron Young, coming off the edge, is absolutely fantastic. But Jared Verse, he's a guy that a lot of people are talking about as a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate next year. He is just plain nasty. Now, you might say, he only had 4.5 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. He had 2 extra sacks in the playoffs, and they were against the Philadelphia Eagles. He brought down Jalen Hurts twice in that game. He has a lot of confidence. He looks like a stud. The second-year man really makes them go and makes that defense of Chris Shula's. I mentioned Mike Shula, Mike Shula was his dad. I mentioned his grandfather, Don Shula, earlier on in the show. Well, Don Shula's grandson is probably going to be a head coach in the National Football League very soon, especially with a guy like Jared Verse helping him out on defense. Let's stay with that defense. Here's another guy that is making waves, and it's not a lot of people that you would think about, but where are you going to make waves? Well, it's in the lake. Quentin Lake. Now, you might know his dad. Steeler fans definitely know his dad, Carnell Lake. Quentin Lake out of UCLA didn't have to go far. He stuck around in Los Angeles, and he is coming in strong as a very versatile defensive back. That secondary is getting so strong for them. They have two Camerons, Kamren. That's Curl and Kinchins at safety, along with a guy that they think could be an X factor in Jalen McCullough as well at safety. But here's the guy I want to talk about. Remember Emmanuel Forbes? He was a very early pick of the Washington Commanders way back in 2023. I can't believe I said way back. He was let go. He was a cast-off from DC, ended up in Los Angeles, and he's been covering Davante Adams like a blanket in camp. Wow, he's a guy to look at very strong. If this defense could cover as well as the front seven does, if the secondary can, wow, this is going to be a top 5 defense potentially. Let's go ahead and look at the strongest part of this team, and it's the receivers. Puka Nacua in 2 years in Los Angeles has been breaking records. I mean, he broke a rookie record for receptions. I mean, the guy is absolutely tremendous. And then you bring in Davante Adams. Sure, you lose a guy that was so reliable in Cooper Kupp. Davante Adams, man, he did it last year. He had a lot of touchdowns for the New York Jets. And also, he was with the Las Vegas Raiders as well. He's a guy to really look at here. He's a guy that you could really consider as somebody that's going to make it really tough, especially with Puka Nacua out there. But Davante Adams, man, I tell you what, he is something fantastic. He has not lost a step. A lot of people thought he was, with his age, that he was done. No, man, he just keeps it going. He is getting his number 17 back. Number 12 is going over to Puka Nacua now. He gets number 12. He gave up his number, didn't have a problem with it when you're bringing a guy like Davante Adams in. But there's a guy that you got to know. Year 2 for Jordan Whittington. This guy is standing out. My gosh, he is looking good. He is the third option. The Rams have always done well because they've got an offensive genius as their coach. They have always done tremendously with that third receiver. My gosh, look what they got out of Ben Skoranek a couple years ago. And DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, just a lot of guys that they made stars. Jordan Whittington is looking like one of those as well. And with all that attention to Adams, all that attention to Nacua, and don't forget tight end Tyler Higbee, Jordan Whittington could make you hurt. And it's going to hurt so good for the Rams. Now, I don't think the Rams are a lock for the division title because the San Francisco 49ers are back and they're healthy. They are actually getting a lot of consideration to win the division title. Most everybody does feel that the Los Angeles Rams are a playoff team, and I think they could do damage if they could somehow win that division and maybe get the Philadelphia Eagles at home. That is going to go ahead and be a classic. I'm really thinking that with this defense, they can stand up to the Philadelphia Eagles, and with that offense, they can do so as well. In fact, I would not be surprised if that is your NFC championship game for the right to go to Super Bowl 60. So, there's plenty of hope and trust in the Los Angeles Rams, and what if they can just bring a song of jubilation to La La Land? For the PFIve, my name is Bryan Anthony Davis. Thanks so much for listening. God bless, and as always, go football.